Okay, guys, good evening. I'm having to record this class a little bit early so that I can be out on the green teaching the live class at 5 o'clock. So welcome to our final Zoom class for 2021. And hopefully by 2022, we'll be back in the dojang, although our summer classes will begin in Vena with Green on the 11th of January. And then we're hoping to return to the venues when school begins just after Waitangi Day, which is our usual approach. We usually get to do a couple of weeks out in the sun. So enjoy this class tonight. It's been fantastic having you all through this year. Thank you very much for coming along to our Zoom sessions through both of the lockdowns that we've had this year. And let's get stuck in. Sit up, come here, take one. Raise your right hand and recite the tenets. Saju, courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, indomitable spirit. And the student oath. Gesok, I shall observe the tenets of Taekwondo. I shall respect the instructor and seniors. I shall never misuse Taekwondo. I shall be a champion of freedom and justice. I shall build a more peaceful world. Rotating wrists. Change direction. Elbows. Change direction. Arms back, big circles. And forwards. Try one arm backwards, one arm forwards. And change direction. Change. And change. That's an exercise for the brain, isn't it? And twist your torso, feet about a shoulder width apart. Left ankle. Change direction. Change foot. Change direction. Hands on knees, going down and back, down and back, down and back. Hands up by your brain, circling your legs outwards. And inwards. And rotating your hips. Change direction. And good. Now from here, some of you may not have done this little warm-up exercise before. I want you just to be bouncing lightly on both feet. Now from here, put your weight mainly on one leg. So the other leg's just relaxed. And then you go touch, kick, touch, kick, touch, kick. So every second bounce, you're touching the ground. And every other bounce, you're kicking. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do 10 kicks and then we'll change legs. So I'll call change when it's time to change legs. We'll do 10 kicks each leg and change. We'll do a few rounds of it. So hands up by your brain, bouncing nice and lightly. Hana, tu, set, net, tasot, yasot, ildo, yado, aho, yo, change, hana, tu, set, net, tasot, yasot, ildo, yado, aho, yo, change, hana, tu, set, net, tasot, yasot, ildo, yado, aho, yo, change, hana, tu, set, net, tasot, yasot, ildo, yado, aho, yo, change, hana, tu, set, net, tasot, yasot, ildo, yado, aho, yo, change, hana, tu, set, net, tasot, yasot, ildo, yado, aho, yo, change, hana, tu, set, net, tasot, yasot, ildo, yado, aho, yo, change, hana, tu, set, net, tasot, yasot, ildo, yado, aho, yo, relax. Oh, give your legs a little shake. Now from here, push your left leg at the back, crossing your hands in front, walking ready stance. Gunin Junbi Sogi, walking ready stance. Remember with your walking stance, your left, your back leg is locked straight with your heel pushed into the floor. Your front leg is bent and you have train tracks, a shoulder width apart from your feet. Hips and shoulders for walking ready stance are nice and straight. When we do front rising kick, lift your leg up nice and straight. Get your balance on one leg. Spring your other leg for sine wave. Down, up, down. Okay, we're going to do 10 of those each leg. Left leg back. Check that walking stance. Get your balance after each kick. Sine wave and land. Hana. Tu. Set. Net. Taso. Yaso. Ilgo. Yadu. Aho. Yo. And change. Hana. Tu. Set. Net. Taso. Yaso. Ilgo. Yado. Aho. Yo. So forward buttle. So front rising kick, as you remember, is a compulsory kick for everyone. We all have to know that. We use it as a stretching exercise. It can also, particularly if your hands aren't free, it can be used as a block. So you can block with the ball of your foot kicking upwards this way. Imagine someone punching you, create some space, you're going to kick and kick up underneath the head, for example. Okay, now we'll work on a few fundamental movements. Hands first, then we're going to do our kicks. Starting nice, working on that walking stance we've just been playing with. We're going to do right side and left side. Full fist, little punch. So noticing first, the first thing I do when I'm going to punch with my right hand, this one, is I pull it back to my hip and lift the other hand up, preparing to punch. Here's my target. I'm bending both of my knees and I'm dropping down. Then I rise up as I fall. And then just before I fall, I punch as quickly as I can. Hips and shoulders straight, train tracks for the feet, remember? Hips straight, shoulders straight, punch to the center. No punching over sideways like this. The opponent's in front of you. You don't want to miss them. Punch the opponent or the target. Okay, from here, right side. Check your hips and shoulders are straight. Check your front legs bent, back heels on the ground. And back. Other side. 2, Good. Shake your hips and shoulders. Push that back foot into the floor. Make sure that back foot's pointing almost forwards. Bottom. Right side. Hana. Bottom. Left side. Do. Bottom. Right side. Bottom. Do. Bottom. Hana. Bottom. Do. Bottom. Good. Two more. Right side. Hana. Focus on that spring of your knee. Create the sine wave. Two. Down, up, down. Check your stance. Check your shoulders. Bottom. Okay. Now we'll do forearm low block. First block we do because we use it in four direction punch. From here, remember, the blocking hand crosses on top. So I'm going to block with this hand. I'll cross my hands in front of my, what we call this, my opposite chest, because I'm blocking with this side. So I pull my hands across in front of my opposite chest, where my badge is. Okay, so I'm crossing my wrist there in front of my chest. My knuckles are about the height of my shoulders. Okay, so we go one, relax and spring the knees down. Two, cross. Three, explode into your block. Remember, as you're falling forwards, that's when you do your block. And back, same side again. We'll go 1, 2, 3. Check the stance. Both feet are almost straight ahead. Back foot forward. Bottom. To the other side. This time I'm going to block with my right hand, so that's going to go on top. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Check your stance. Bottom. Nice and strong. Back heel pushed in the floor, back leg straight. Go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we'll go left side, then right side. So left side now. Ready? Hana. Down, up, down. Bottom. Two. Down, up, down. Bottom. Set. Down, up, down. Bottom. Net. Down, up, down. Bottom. Dazzle. Down, up, down. Bottom. Other side. Down, up, down. Bottom. Left side. Down, up, down. Bottom. Right side. Bottom. Good. Okay. Now we're going to step forward into the punch and step back into the low block. And when we do this, I particularly want you to focus on your back foot to make sure that heel stays on the ground. Okay, so I'll go punch, my heel's on the ground. Block, heels on the ground. Both heels on the ground. Particularly when I step forward and punch, make sure I land with my heel on the ground and my leg straight. Not doing this. My heel off the ground. My stance is no good. Okay? And also not doing this. I see some do this. That foot shouldn't move. It stays where it is. So for my punch, back, block, forward, punch, back, block. Okay, go. Let's do that with the right foot moving first. Go. Check those heels, stay on the floor when you land. Check you've got your train tracks. Punch into the center line of your body. Bottle. Okay, now let's do the left side. I'm going to do it sideways this time, so you can see me with my body sideways when I'm doing it. You do it in time with me. Left side. This one. Go. This just gives you a different angle to watch. bottom. Now let's put it together and do forward direction punch. Okay, we all know forward direction punch. I want you to focus, particularly seniors, focus on landing both of those feet on the ground. Nice, strong stance. Remember when you cross, down, up, down. That's when you're doing a cross. Remember on the up motion. Down, up, down. Down, up, down. Punches, of course, don't cross. Down, up, down. Down is just relax. Up is extend that target. Pull back to your hip. And down is punch, nice and fast, explode. Imagine you're delivering your fist right through a watermelon. Big juicy watermelon, and you punch a hole in it. You don't even smash it. It doesn't even disintegrate. Your fist just goes right through the middle and punches a hole-shaped bit right out of the watermelon. Try that. Okay, forward direction punch. Imagine that. Picture that what you're doing. Right side first. Saju. Bottle. And now the left side. So. Bottle. Okay, now, once more, last time, forward direction punch. Stay in time with me. Right side. Jump. Bottle. And the left side. Stop. Bottle. Did you plant your heel correctly through that whole sequence? Was it nice and strong on the floor? Grab a drink. Okay, we're going to work through forward direction block, and then we're going to go through some of the more senior stuff. We'll do Chon-Ji and we'll do Dangun. Okay, if there's anybody here that is higher than yellow belt, then I'm going to give you some time later to practice your pattern. Okay, so first up, we'll just quickly do the movements from saju makgi. Okay, so remember the block we do in saju makgi, instead of doing a forearm low block, it changes to a knife hand low block. So we open our hand out nice and strongly, very tiny curve in my fingers. You can see they're not pulled back. They're slightly, very, very slightly forward, thumb pulled back. Striking with this part of my hand, it's called my knife hand, like I'm cutting through something, okay? We'll tell you when you're a little bit more senior that for your forearm low block, it blocks downward and smashes on top of the tool, like someone kicking you or punching you down in your lower abdomen here. Lower abdomen here is the target. For knife hand low block, it's more like I'm cutting across. Okay, the crossing position is very slightly different. Instead of crossing in front of my opposite chest, I cross in front of my rib cage. So it comes across a little bit further so that it can cut across. I'm cutting with my knife hand. Okay, so we'll do a couple of knife hand low blocks. Then we'll do a couple of inner forearm middle blocks. Then we'll put them together. Then we'll do saju makgi. Okay, remember, so knife hand low block. We'll just step back with the right foot, then the left foot. We're going to step backwards this time. From here, crossing on top. We'll do the left side first. Sorry, left hand first. Hana. Check your stance. Good train tracks. Make sure you've got a nice, strong walking stance. And butt on. And now the right hand. Good. Remember that sine wave. Okay. Remember that back foot still has to point straight ahead. Don't let it point sideways because we're stepping backwards. So from here, I'm not stepping back like this with my back foot pointing that way. My back foot's still got to point this way so that I can get the power of my core, the power of my tummy and my glutes all my big muscles could explode into the block. But if I have that foot pointing sideways, I can't use my hips. And then I can't develop the power from my tummy. Okay? So I have to point that back forward to get power. Okay, ready. Left and then right. Go. Okay, come on. Good. Okay, so that's our knife hand low block. Now in a forearm middle block. Now remember, a forearm low block and our knife hand low block both cross on top. All right? They both cross on top. So we're smashing two watches together. The inner forearm middle block is different. It crosses underneath with both of our palms facing away from each other. Okay, both palms away. Now the reason for that is when you do most of your blocks and most of your techniques, you want to twist both of your wrists. That way you can use all of the muscles around your arm. In case you're not aware, your muscles generally come in pairs. This muscle here, my biceps, that is used to bend my arm. And then on the opposite side, I have my triceps, and they are used to straighten my arm. Biceps to bend, triceps to straighten. It's the same on the leg. We have hamstring to bend my leg and quadriceps to straighten my leg. So all the muscles around your body come in pairs. And when we twist our wrist, we can enable us to use all of the muscles around the arm, not just half of that pair, right? So that's one of the reasons we do it. Just gives you a bit more acceleration, a bit more oomph. So when you're blocking with your forearm or your knife hand, smashing two watches together enables both of your hands to twist. See that? They're both twisted. So when we're blocking with the outside of the arm, the outer forearm or the knife hand, we cross on top, smashing two watches together, so both hands twist. When we use the inner forearm, we have to cross underneath with the other hand away from us so that this hand can twist, right? Because we're blocking with the inner forearm. So both of our hands will twist. The hand that's pulling back to the hip is actually doing the same thing both times. Watch this. See, it's doing exactly the same thing. Okay, it's just about where you put the blocking hand when you're doing the block, right? So your inner forearm middle block crosses underneath. Now, very importantly, it still crosses in front of your chest. Okay, it does not cross down by your tummy. It crosses up in front of your chest here. My elbows are down. That way my shoulders are relaxed because I'm not trying to block up this way. It's not a window wiper. I'm trying to block across. Someone's coming to a punch or to attack me right in the middle here, and I'm blocking across to knock that attack off balance. From here, 1, 2. Okay, so keep your elbows down, cross in front of your opposite chest, and block across. Okay, so we're going to step forward, left and right. We're going to do the inner forearm middle block. So we're going to start with the left side. From here, down 1, cross underneath and rise up as 2, and then explode out and stop as 3. Also notice that my block stops in line with my chest. It doesn't block out here. Once I've blocked the attack here, the danger is over for that attack. I don't have to throw it all the way over here. But if I do throw it all the way over here, look how open my target is. I can then get hit again. So I want to block and stop so I can still protect my body very quickly with the same hand. Okay, so we call this over blocking. We don't over block. Okay, ready? Left side, down, up, 1, and back. Other side, go, and back, go, back, go. And keep in time with me. Check your stance, check your blocking position. Make sure you're crossing underneath. Two more. Okay, now we're going to put them together. The low block, knife hand low block, and the inner forearm middle block. We'll go 1, 2, 1, 2. I'll do it sideways to give you that different angle to look at again. First, I'm going to do my right side. We do the right side of forward direction punch and forward direction block all the time. And the right side is the one where my right foot does the moving. And my left side is the one where my left foot does all the moving. And the other foot just stays where it is and goes in a circle. Okay, ready. Forward direction block. Stepping back first. Up. Forward. And stay in time with me. Keep that back heel on the ground. Land and flatten your heel at the time you land, not after. Block and land together. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Come on. So 1 is when we go down. 2 is when we come up. 3 is when we go down. With our hands, on 1, we relax. 2, we cross. 3, we explode. Okay? Down, up, down. Relax, cross, explode. Forward, falling over, landing. Backward, falling over, landing. Okay, that's our 3 count as well. Okay, left side this time. Go. Down, up, down. Down, up, down. Relax, cross, block. Relax, cross, block. Relax, cross, block. Relax, cross, block. Come on. Okay. Forward direction block. We're going to do the right side first. Remember, that's when the right foot moves. Some of you younger guys, the direction of turn is where you have the most trouble. So remember from here, after I step forward, it's a little pivot and then step back. Little pivot and then step back. And that way you'll always turn the correct direction. Okay, so forward direction block, right side, in time with me. Drop. I've gone too far. My brain was thinking about other things instead of focusing on the pattern. Oh, let's try that again. Okay. We only do all 4 directions, don't we? We don't start again. Too many movements, Master B. Silly. Okay, let's start again. Ready, right side. She, drop. We'll stop there. And bubble. Now the left side. I'm going to slow down a little bit so that some of your juniors can keep up. Okay, first time through. Sock. Pivot. 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 Bottle. Okay. Once more. Right side. Same time with me. Jump. Other side. Sock. Bottle, shot, and grab a drink. Okay, so young guys, it's very common for you to get mixed up doing the left side and turning the wrong way, particularly on the left side. And the reason is that many of us are really, really, really right-handed. So we really favor our right side. So we want to have our right foot move all the time and our left foot doesn't want to go anywhere. So we've got to find little ways to remember which foot to move. Now, when we're in a class with 20 other people, it's a lot easier because you can see everyone else and go, oh, I'm doing it the wrong side. When you're at home, there's little tricks you can do as well. Okay. So the first thing is that remember step, pivot, step, pivot. The second thing is just remembering which foot to turn. Now, in our gym, of course, we have the little rubber spots. So you can put your foot on one of the rubber spots. You can put a little L and a little R on your hand. Okay, so this could have a little R on my right hand and a little L on my left hand. I'm looking at, okay, that's the left side. That's the foot I've got to move. One of the best things to do at home is just to put something little under your foot. So here's a little piece of paper. I can just put that little piece of paper for the right side. I put it under my left foot so I can feel it. And I know that that foot should not move. Okay, so if you've got something little you can put under your foot, grab it now. I'll give you about 10 seconds to find something to put under your foot. And then we'll do it with something under our foot and see whether you can feel the difference and remember which foot to move, whether that makes it easier. We'll do foot direction block, which is the harder one, right? Okay, so from here, everyone got something? Put it underneath your left foot, under this foot. Just a little piece of paper or a coin or something. Make sure you don't get something that's going to damage the floor. So if you've got nice wooden floors like we have here, don't use a coin or anything with hard edges, okay? Something nice and soft. We had a student that once would do it with one slipper on, or maybe one sock. It just means you have to change it when we change sides. Okay, but that can help. Right, okay, so let's do the foot direction block right side once more. I've got the little piece of paper under my left foot, just something that I can feel, okay? And from here, I'm going to do foot direction block right side. Do it with me. Shi-jo. Now I can feel which foot I have to move, because there's something under it, under the other foot that stays where it is. And the foot that is moving, there's nothing underneath it. When I finish, I should still be covering up my little piece of paper. And butter. Now I'm going to change feet. Okay, I'm going to put my little piece of paper underneath my other foot. There's my little piece of paper. You can see that. It's under my right foot now, because my right foot's going to stay where it is. My left foot's going to move. Ready. Left side. Talk. That's it. That's the trick. Something under your foot, plus that little pivoting trick, okay? And then you got it. Then you can get foot direction punch and foot direction block done nice and easy. Okay. We're now going to move on to Chon-Ji. So everyone's going to do some of the movements from Chon-Ji first, and then the yellow stripes are going to do Chon-Ji, while the white belts can either practice foot direction punch and foot direction block, or you can just have a little rest and watch. So you can watch Chon-Ji if you want to. So you can choose what you're going to do. All the seniors are going to do Chon-Ji, but first we'll do some basic movements from it. There's only two real new things that we have to practice. The first one is that in a forearm middle block that we've done in walking stance, we're going to do it in an L stance instead. We've all done L stances. That's the one we do use a little bit when we're free sparring and doing sparring drills. This time your back foot does point sideways and your front foot points straight ahead, okay? But you'll see how narrow the stance is. My front toe and my back heel are actually on the same line. That's how narrow it is. That makes me a small target. See, when I'm in a walking stance, look how big this target is, right? I want to make my target smaller so I'm harder to hit. So I go a little bit more sideways. My hips are naturally sideways. And then with the front hand, I do my inner forearm middle block, okay? Inner forearm middle block. Now, the funny thing about this is if my right leg's at the back, because I've got a little bit more weight on my right leg, we say 70%, 30%, so a little bit more than half on the back leg. We open out the back knee, so we don't bend the back knee like this, we open it out sideways, back foot's pointing sideways, so I'm doing it facing this way now, right? This is my right L stance because my right foot's got the most weight on it, okay? And I'm blocking with my left hand. Okay, so from here, we're gonna go forward this time, left side, bottom, and right side. And keep in time with me, go. Even though you're stepping forward, make sure you keep a little bit more than half of your weight on the back foot. I'll show you going sideways. See, I'm keeping my weight on the back leg. Here's my weight. Not so much that all my weight's over my leg. That's no good. Just so my belt's hanging down about here. Okay, left and right. Crossing underneath. Same as we do when we're in walking stance. Good, and come on. The other thing that's really important to practice for Chon-Ji is what's called our backward step turn. Okay, so for this, we're going to take a step all the way backwards. So I'm going to start with my punch this way. I'm going to step backwards that way, turn around, and I'm going to do a walking stance low block. See that? Now, what's really important to notice, this is my left foot at the back. When I turn, my left foot is still at the back because I took a step that way. But I've got to make sure that I keep my train tracks. I'll do it facing you. Okay, my right foot forward first. From here, for my punch, I'll turn, train tracks. I have to keep my train tracks. That's very common when people turn like this, that they'll be too narrow and have no balance, or too wide and have a really ugly walking stance. I can wide one like this. We've got to make sure that we turn so that our walking stance is nice when it's finished. Now we do that by keeping our balance. That's the most important thing. And the way that we do that, from our walking stance, down, my weight's on this leg. I've got balance, no problem. I can even pivot around, no problem. Now I do my down, up, down, and my low block, and there's my stance. Okay? If you try and turn too hard, if your body goes up, I've got no balance here, so I'm never going to land in a good stance. I've got to go down here, turn, and down. Okay? So I rise up at the moment that I've turned. So from here, I'm going down. I've already turned to face this way a little bit. Then I rise up. That block. Okay? So let's try that. Put your right foot forward in your punch. Down, up, down into your forearm low block. Try that. You do the other side as well. Yellow belts. Down, up, and yellow stripes. Down, up, down. Change my leg. Down, up, down. Change my leg. Once you've done a few of those, instead of finishing in your walking stance forearm low block, try landing in your L stance in a forearm middle block. Got to keep my weight on my back leg. Be careful that I don't do this. That's not a very good stance, is it? From here, L stance. Okay, put the L leg forward so you can see a different angle. L stance. Do a few of those each side, and then grab a little drink. It's called a backward step turn, okay? Because I'm taking a step backward and turning around. Now there's two types. I keep going, keep going, keep going. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. You can either turn the same way as a clock goes, which is called clockwise, or you can turn the opposite direction from a clock, which is called counterclockwise or anti-clockwise. So we call this in the pattern Chon-Ji, you're doing a backward step turn clockwise. Okay. Okay, stop and have your mouth full of water. There we go. Good stuff. Now, Chon-Ji. Okay, so white belts and yellow, white belts, we've not got yellow stripe yet. You can either watch this or do four direction punch both sides a few times until I say stop, okay? Don't rush. Try and keep the same pace as those of us doing Chon-Ji. Okay, Chon-Ji, remember you're stepping. Left foot goes left, step forward, turn around and follow your arm, step forward. Left foot goes left, step forward, turn around and follow your arm, step forward. Left foot goes left, step forward, turn around and follow your arm, step forward. Get the idea? Pretty simple, right? Okay, so let's do it together. We'll do it once a little bit slowly and then once the more normal speed. Okay, so from here, parallel, ready, stance, jirugi, Chon-Ji, in time with me. Drop. Left foot goes left. My left foot, step down left. Step forward. Follow my arm, turn around, make sure my right foot goes forward, my left foot to the back. And step forward. Left foot's at the front. Left foot goes left. Step forward. Now my right foot's at the front. Follow my arm, turn all the way around. Right foot still at the front because I took a step backwards. And step forward. Now I'm going to change to my L stance. Left foot steps left in a forearm low block. Step forward. I'm going to take a step behind me, follow my arm, step all the way around, L stance. Step forward. Left foot, hands at the front, goes left. Step forward. Follow my arm all the way around. Step forward. Now we're going to add some punches on the end. One more step forward. So my right hand's at the front. And then one step back. And two steps back. So I finish with my right hand at the front. Chon-Ji. And then very importantly at the end, I step forward. Because now I'm back on the same spot I started on. Okay, very, very important. The same spot I started on. All of our taekwondo patterns should start and finish on the same spot. Okay, now stay in time with me, a bit more normal speed. Chon-Ji, shi, drop. Seniors, get some power and some movement in it. Focus on something to improve. Stances, power, crossing. Bottom. Shot. Okay. Now we're going to work through the movements required for Dangun. We're all going to do these. White belt to command, you can join us now. We're going to do the fundamental movements from Dangun. Okay. And then the yellow belts are going to do Dangun, and those above yellow belt are going to do their own pattern. Okay. There are a lot more new movements in Dangun, but they're all done in the same stance as you already know. L stance and walking stance. There is one new speed called continuous motion. Chon-Ji, saju jirugi, saju makgi called normal speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there's two movements in Dangun that instead are done continuous motion. 1 and 2. Okay, so a nice flow. The movement continues. That's movements 13 and 14. Okay, so we'll quickly go through the fundamental movements and then we'll get started on the pattern and stuff themselves. First up, knife hand guarding block in L stance. So we're just going to go left and right. Hands in front of chest, pull back and raise a little bit. Front hand, knife hand is blocking. The back hand, your knife hand is protecting your body. Okay, so your back hand's palm up, your front hand's palm forward. Step together. Keep your hands up. Notice I didn't drop them down to my belt. Pull back. Other side. And step together. 1 and 2. And step together. 1 and 2. Seniors, can you feel where your hip can get involved? So you can add all the power from your core. 1 and 2. 2. The hip. Yeah. Okay, come on. Now the next one, also in L stance, we'll do the knife hand side strike. Okay, this crosses on top because we're using our knife hand. Just as I said before when we were blocking, if you're using the outside of your arm, your forearm, and your knife hand, you cross on top and smash two watches together. Same rule applies here. So I'm going to cross on top, relax my elbows down, and then as I strike, my elbow's going to come up. Smash out with that knife hand. So it's a knife hand side strike this way. Okay, or this way. So let's do that right and left. Cross, strike. Again, you've got that power from your hips. Cross, strike. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Relax, cross, block, or strike. Relax, cross, strike. Relax, cross, strike. Down, up, down. Down, up, down. Down, up, down. There we go. Do a few more each side. Where you go. Okay, good. Now we're going to change to walking stance and do a couple of movements from walking stance for this pattern. The first one we're going to do is just a 4-fist high punch. We won't do many of these because it's just like a middle punch. All white belts, you know this. Let's finish it at eye level. My camera angle makes mine look a little higher, but it's actually at my eye level. So from here, knuckles are in line with your eyes. Not looking up like this, kids. Not there, because that's where mum and dad's eyes are. My eyes here. Okay? Keep going left and right. And come on. Okay. Now let's do the second new movement, the next new movement, chukimaki. Palm chukimaki. We do this with our 3 to 5-year-olds. Great block. Crossing on top, smashing two watches together, but unusually, it crosses a little bit lower. Doesn't cross in front of my badge, crosses in front of my rib cage. Okay, from here, well, my floating rib actually, my floating ribs. From here, this hand goes up, twists, of course, and then my forearm is about a fist from my head. Oh, come so you can see. There we go. My forearm is about a fist from my head. This is chukimaki. Okay, my forearm you can see is on a slight angle. I don't try and make it straight like this. If I try and make it straight and something hits that, I haven't got the strength to stop it from smacking me in the head. So I let my elbow and the shoulder relax, so I get a little angle, and that gives me a lot more strength in my block. I'm blocking with the bone. So I don't want to turn my palm facing up like this, because then I'll get the power on the underside of my forearm, and that really hurts. I want to take it on the bone. Okay, that's my chukimaki. And the other hand, of course, pulls back to your hip. Ready. And go, left and right. And come on. Okay, while we're doing this, we'll also practice that continuous motion. Movements 13 and 14 that I talked about. From here, we do a full sine wave between them, but we continue our breath. So we finish the low block, and then we go down on the spot, rise up, I'm turning my hips straight ahead, and drop down to do my rising block. Okay, so I go down, up, down. Okay, so ready? Down, up, down. Down, up, down. Okay. And then my breath continues. I breathe out once, but there's two hard parts in my breath. Like that. Okay. So we'll do that. Then do the other side. Okay. And go. Do a few more each side. Keep practicing that left and right, left and right. I've just got to send a little message. Okay, now, come on. The last movement, our last new movement for Dangun, we'll rush over a little bit. It's a pretty tricky one. From here, I'm going to block with both of my hands. So my rule about crossing and which way we turn gets changed because both of my hands are going to do some work. This time, both of my hands face towards me. The hand that's on top is going to block forward like it's doing a forearm guarding block. The other hand is going to do my chokyamai. But this time I'm going to be in L stance. So I'm going to be a little bit more sideways. Instead of pulling it over the front of my head like this, it's going to be out to the side a little bit like this. Okay, so we just practice. And then do the other side. This time, the top hand, remember, the hand that's on top, that goes forwards. The hand that's underneath goes upwards. Okay? Both palms towards me. You think you got that? Then try going left and right. And baro. Shot. This one. Okay, now we're going to do Dangun, and then we will be doing your own pattern for those who are above yellow belt, and then we'll finish up. Okay, so first up, yellow belts and above, Dangun, yellow stripes, repeat Chon-Ji, and white belts, this time do full direction, block both sides. Take your time and remember, pivot, step, so that you go turn the right direction. Use this something under your foot if it helps. Dangun for yellow belts and above, jirugi. Now, if you're like me and your space is too short, you're going to have to stop, adjust your position, and then continue with the pattern. Okay, ready. Dangun to, shijo. Dangun. Come on, bottle. Shot. Okay, those of you who are above yellow belt, do your own pattern. Think about the things that we've been working on tonight. Your sine wave, down, up, down. Planting that back heel in your walking stance. Getting your width right in your walking stance. Trying to get your stances correct, your body weight in your L stance. And your crossing. Okay, so take your time when you're working through your final pattern of the night and really work through those movements. Okay, we'll do that in just a moment. Okay, I'll do Dangun. Those above yellow belt are doing their own pattern. Be, shijo. If you're still going on your own pattern, continue. Otherwise, bottle. Shot. Okay. Oh. We'll do a quick stretch, and then I've got to finish up because I've got to go and grade a couple of the students that can't make class tonight because they've got runny noses. So, both legs out, one leg at the top, and turn. Again, thank you so much for coming along to class this year. We've got our combined family session on this Thursday. Young folk, you guys at 5 o'clock, 5 till 6, and Better with Green. And then the seniors, the senior grades, are at 6 till 7:30 on Thursday. And that's our last session before Christmas. So I'd love to see you down if you can make it. You're welcome to come along if you're uncomfortable with the training or uncomfortable with some other reason in the park. Just don't put your dog walk on, come along and just say hi. It'd be really cool to see you. And then have a wonderful Christmas. Make sure you're helping out at home. Remember our taekwondo rule, at least an hour a day when you're on holiday, helping mum and dad with the things they need help with. Okay, and change legs. At least an hour a day helping out. Both legs forward, breathe in, and to the front. Okay, bring your heels in, push them down. Quickly lie down and back, legs in the air, open your legs out, relax a little bit. And relax. Okay. Merry Christmas, everyone. Look after each other. I look forward to seeing you in Better with Green on the 11th of January for our first class in 2022. Ta-da! Kyoge, Takwa, Hassan. Give mum and dad a huge thank you. See you soon, guys. Have a great Christmas.